Take a look at these drone shots and tell me which were filmed on the Phantom 4 and which were filmed on the Phantom 2 with the GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition action camera. How did you do? It was a trick. They were all filmed on the Phantom 2 with the GoPro 4 Hero 4 Black Action Sports Camera thing. So, the question is, how did we get the footage to look like that? Now, in all honesty, we don't have the GoPro 4 anymore. We sold it and we sold the Phantom 2 and we upgraded to the Phantom 4 because we wanted to be able to properly monitor the footage from the ground and also, above all, be able to change the settings of the camera in the DJI app. So, we like the Phantom 4, but nonetheless, at the time when we had the GoPro, we received lots of compliments, people saying, oh, it looks like an Inspire, it looks like a DJI S900 thing with a DSLR, etc, etc. In other words, it doesn't look like a GoPro. We don't have any problem with the GoPro. We love the GoPro for a certain purpose, the GoPro look, but at the end of the day, we are trying to match in our aerial footage with our DSLR footage, and we're trying to create cinematic films, commercials, music videos, whatever it is we're filming. So let's take a wee look at how we did that. First thing you want to do is get it right in the camera in the first place. Now, much as big fisheye, super wide angle shots are fun for skydivers and skiers, we want our footage to look like it came from Hollywood and not the top of a crash helmet. That's the honest truth. So the first thing you want to do is get the field of view right. We didn't want massive wide angle shots with the screen peeling away at the sides. The GoPro 4 at least has a medium field of view setting on 2.7K resolution. That for us was perfect. The 2.7K would give us a slight opportunity to crop in if we needed to because we would deliver in 1080p, and the medium field of view gave us less that we had to do in post-production in terms of de-fisheyeing the footage afterwards. The second thing you want to get right in camera are the colours. Now, much as colours so saturated that they make your eyes bleed are great for bungee jumpers and mountain bikers, we want our footage to look like it came from Hollywood and not the top of a crash helmet. With that in mind, set your GoPro to Pro Tune and a flat colour profile. And again, that gives us the most to work with in post-production. So those are the main things you have to get right in the camera. The frame rate doesn't really matter. You can leave that on 25p if you want the real-time footage, put it to 50p if you intend to slow it down afterwards, you want some slow motion. The sharpness, put it on low or medium. Exposuring, you don't want the spot metering, you want the exposure to be taken for the whole frame. And the final thing, low light, just leave it off. Now that we've recorded some nice footage, let's finish it off in post-production. So we want to de-fisheye the footage, we want to do some basic colour correction, and we want to correct the aspect ratio, make it a nice widescreen cinematic look by putting a letterbox on top. Okay, so here we are in GoPro Studio. Let's change the fisheye footage of the GoPro into unfisheyeed footage, de-fisheyeed footage even. Let's add a file. This is the file we're going to add. We'll open that. There it is. Select the file, go down here to Advanced Settings. Now this is the magic button that certainly eluded us for oh so long as we were trying to find a way of defisheyeing our footage. So remove that fisheye, leave everything else the same. You can see that this is a 2.7K GoPro file. We filmed this in 25p. We don't want to speed up, do anything like that. We leave the quality as high as possible. You could probably click that, to be honest with you, because you do want to remember this setting for future clips. And you click OK. Now that we have done that, we change the name of this to blah de-fisheye, and we add it to the conversion list. If you haven't already done so, you can change the location for the exported file down here, but we've got that already set correctly. Lanzarote, which is where this is. Add to the conversion list and convert. Now, this takes quite a long time, so we're going to come back when this is done. Cool, so now that this is done, we'll come back to GoPro Studio and we proceed to step 2. Oh, we don't want any of this. We just want a blank template. Create the blank template. Here we have the file. We've dragged this down into the timeline. And we'll go through this in more detail once it's exported. But this file is now de-fisheyed. I think if I scroll this, you might be able to see. We'll look at a side by side closer, but essentially that is de-fisheyed. Go back to the start there. All we have to do now to finish this off is to export. So we do this, we export where we want to export, that'll do, and we'll call this Lanzarote de-fisheye. In terms of these settings, what is this one? Custom, because this is a 2.7K file, as you can see down here. Image size 2.7. Encode is H.264, that's fine. Frame rate's the same as before. Maximum quality, and as you can see, this is going to export a 3.2 gig file. So we click export. Now that's us done. Once that's exported, and again this takes quite a while, you are done. Now as you've noticed, this is a two-stage process. You de-fisheye and then you export. As a consequence, GoPro Studio creates two files. The first file, the de-fisheye file that I call blah 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 blah, is some outrageously massive file that you just want to delete. You don't need that anymore. You're just going to wonder where all your hard drive space has gone, and it's gone into these de-fisheye files. This export, as and when it's done, is the one that you need. So we'll come out of this and we shall revisit this in Final Cut and take a look at our before and after and how to finish off making our GoPro footage look like Phantom inspired, DSLR, whatever. Arri Alexa, gorgeous Hollywood footage. Okay, so I've set up a couple of examples here for before and after the de-fisheye process in GoPro Studio. We are now in Final Cut, which is where we do our editing. Now watch this clip. This one is fisheyed. It's not that obvious, but wait until you see the de-fisheyed. So this is fisheye and de-fisheye. Boom, look at that. Straightened out horizon. Now, look at this one. Here the ground looks like it's rolling on a tube. That's the fisheye effect. De-fisheyed, much better. Certainly much more my cup of tea. Then on this one, look at the corners of the screen peeling away like the earth is on a ball. De-fisheyed, straightened out. Much better. Now just for some final comparisons, let's just go across here. No fisheye, fisheye. And that's on a shot that looked pretty good to begin with, to be honest with you, and you can see just how powerful the de-fisheyeing effect is. Go across, no fisheye, fisheye. Whoa, don't like that at all. Finally, no fisheye, fisheye. Quite noticeable there. So, that's the power of de-fisheying. Now that we've de-fisheyed our footage and we have a much more attractive looking shot, how do we get from this pretty plain looking shot to this cool Hollywood looking introduction? That looks awesome. Okay, I shall do this before your very eyes so you can see how easy it is. First things first, we need to add some contrast to this shot. Remember, we filmed this in a flat color profile in Pro Tunes for this very reason. So we had nice flat colors that we could then manipulate as we wished in post. By doing this, I'm adding some contrast, that's stretching out the difference between the highlights and the shadows to make a more contrasty image. A bit of trial and error, it's all subjective, but roughly speaking, I'd say that's about right for what we're going for here, that is. On the color side of things, we'll get into this in a huge amount of detail at some other point, but for a cinematic-ish look, let's put some blue into the shadows and take the midtones across and add some red into the midtones. Make it look really hot and deserty and a bit less green and flat and uninteresting. I'd say that's quite nice. Another wee tip, vignettes. Let's put a vignette on this. Now you've got to take it easy on these, don't go absolutely mad because you can make it look really rubbish and amateurish if you do. But a little vignette just kind of helps add a bit of depth and focuses your eye on the centre of the frame as well to some extent. So we can take a look at that with and without the vignette. You can see the corners come in a bit. It just makes the image a little bit more three-dimensional. Switch the colour correction off and on. Oof, what a difference that was. all just with the basic Final Cut color correction tool, so no special plugins, nothing fancy here, easy peasy. And the final thing we're going to do is add the letterbox, and I have to say it is a little bit faffy on Final Cut, so if you bear with us on this one, we'll come back to some other point and show you an easier way of doing a letterbox. But for the time being, let's just lower that down here, put that in a compound clip, and as you do, type in letterbox and change it to 2.35 to 1, and boom, done, all done. And there it is. What a transformation. Let's see how that, a wee bit different to what I had before, but you get the idea. I think I prefer this one better actually. Yeah, nice. So that's a quick run through of what we do with our GoPro footage, and we do realise that colour correction, defishing, all that kind of stuff is a subjective matter. So as I say, that's our approach. If you have a different approach, let us know in the comments below. If you have any additional steps or fewer steps to get the same kind of result, let us know. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you can follow all our other videos on drone film guides, and we hope to see you next time.